Welcome to my channel, Tonka Art, Acrylic Painting. In this video, we are going to paint flower field. This tutorial is for beginners. Are you ready? Let's start. We don't need expensive painting supplies to get started. Today, we are going to paint on a board canvas that costs only €1. This canvas panel, 20 with 24 centimeters, is gesso primed. We'll talk about gesso in some next tutorials. First, we will paint the sky. Dip the brush into the water and wipe the excess water into a paper towel. Then scoop the blue with a brush. It doesn't matter what shade of blue you have and if it is different than mine. In this video, we are going to get acquainted with acrylic and primarily to relax and have fun. Don't rush with this process. Enjoy. If it is too fast for you, you can always hit the pause button and continue with me further with the painting. If the paint doesn't spread lightly on the canvas, then it means you need to add a little water. But a little bit. Because if we dilute acrylic paint a lot, it loses its pigment. Of course, nothing bad will happen because after all, these are acrylic paints and that is their beauty. We can always leave it to dry and repaint what we do not like with a thicker color. We create an acrylic painting in layers anyway. The more layers, the more depth we got. Now we will draw the line as far as we want sky to be. Below will be a meadow full of wildflowers. You don't have to be precise about the line because we will go over it with flowers anyway. Don't forget the edges. We will add a little white. You don't need to wash the brush because this way the sky will gain variety. In nature, everything is imperfectly perfect anyway. We will pay attention that the horizon is brighter. I'm going to add a little more white at the bottom. With light strokes, we go up and down on the canvas to give the impression of clouds stretched across the sky. You don't have to press hard. Light brush strokes will be enough. Let's add a little more blue for variety. And some white again. Remember, we are relaxing and no stressing about it. Breathe and enjoy. If your brush strokes aren't like mine, they will be with time. You just need to practice. This is your first acrylic painting if I'm not mistaken, so be easy on yourself. Now, we can take a little more water and prepare the background for our meadow. One of the tips for easier application of acrylics on the canvas is that a light layer of a more watery base so that the primary color, in this case green for our grass, is easier to spread. If the water is dripping, it means that there is too much water on our brush. I didn't rinse the brush. As you can see, the base is slightly light blue from the color left on the brush from the sky. Okay, now let's start with our meadow. Let's grab some green. It doesn't matter what shade of green you have, but we'll start from a darker shade, and with every other third coat add lighter shades to our green to get depth. Don't forget the edges. Now, however, be a little careful with the edge to the sky so that we do not cover our clouds too much. But if your brush goes up a little too much, it doesn't matter because our flowers and grass will cover the visible edge. Now we are going to let it dry a little. Acrylic dries quickly. Take a sip or two of your coffee or tea. And here we are back. Now add a little more darker green here and there to gain variety. We will let our green base dry a bit, during which time we will mix a little black or dark blue into our green to darken it a little more. Mixing colors in acrylic is wonderful, but we'll talk about that another time. We want this tutorial to be as simple as possible and as relaxed as possible for you. With light strokes, we will make blades of grass all over the canvas where we want. A little advice: in the distance, objects are smaller, and towards us, it is bigger. This is what we will be guided by in our brush strokes. If necessary, adjust the edge of the canvas to make the brush strokes comfortable. Oops. Situations like this can happen. Nothing terrible. Adapt and keep going. When we are satisfied with the amount of darker base as it dries, we will add a little white to our shade of green or a lighter green. If not, a little white will lighten the green you have just used. Let's repeat the process with a lighter shade of green. Slowly we begin to cover the edge where the sky and our meadow meet. While this layer is drying, we will add a little more white to our lighter green to give the variety of colors of our grass, so we will get more depth. Enjoy this process. You don't have to rush. Mixing these 3 shades of green, we get a new one that you can add for variety. While our grass is drying, take a sip of tea or coffee, and don't forget to click the subscribe button. Thank you. We rinse the brush well and let it lie down to dry. We'll take a rounded brush, and now we will take the white and mark where we want our flowers to be. Do not take a thick layer of paint, but scoop a little white on a more dry brush. The petals do not have to be perfectly symmetrical. After all, it is nature. Remember, perfectly imperfect. Let's remember in the distance, smaller and closer to the bigger. Remember, the closer we are and the bigger the flowers are. Don't forget, if I'm too fast for you, hit the pause button and catch up with at your own pace where we are in the painting. Now we are going to add a little yellow to the white. After all, it is a meadow with wildflowers. Let's repeat the process as with the white. Mixing yellow or orange with white, we get a variety of shades. Feel free to play with the shades of your choice. Also, you can mix a red a little bit. We can play with shadows and shades so we can apply an orange shade to white. Exercise and play with these options in a relaxed way. Still, this tutorial is the beginning of our acrylic story. With white, we can emphasize the petals. Okay, now we're going to mix in a little ochre or add a little black to the yellow to get a darker yellow or ochre for our middle flower. Pat gently into the center of the flower. It doesn't have to be a perfect semicircle. Now, in our ochre, we will add a little more yellow and lightly pat on the upper part of the center of the flower. Let's add a little white to the mixture to emphasize the light on the left side. Let the light or sun come to us from the left, so the darker shades remain on the right. Now we can only take the yellow and add a few dots to the left for variety. We add a few more details where it seems to us that we need to fill in our meadow. Use white, yellow, red, or color of your choice. Once we have rinsed our brush, we will only take the white one and emphasize the light. Now we will let it dry. After, we will make some white point where it is needed or where your eye takes you. And bravo, well done! You have come to the end of the tutorial and painted your first painting with acrylic paints, or at least the first meadow flowers. I hope that you enjoyed this painting process. In some next tutorials, we will focus more on colors and mixing. I will do my best that on video will show palette color so that you can see what I am mixing during painting. hit the subscribe button not to miss it.